Hi, everybody. Yeah, well, there you are. I'm live now. Welcome to this evening's episode of Beer Connoisseur. Tonight it's Wicked Weed. I found this beer. Oh, God bless the fine people over here at ABC. Always be celebrating Wicked Weed's Dr. Dank Indian Pale Ale. I'm going to go ahead and wait for a couple people to get in here. I may have some guests coming in tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and start when we get the comments up there. I'm not going to run my showrunner tonight because I think that maybe the issue on one of the platforms that we run here on Bucs Report. But thank you to everybody who reached out today. A little article. Just a regurgitation. I said it over the weekend with the show that, unless we're like we're in Rappaport, sliding under somebody's mat, getting that breaking news and then tweeting it out on our phones. We're basically all just kind of regurgitating news, giving our different spin on it. And you may notice in back of me, I can't show you too much for us to be copyrighted, but I'm actually running the 2020 Super Bowl 55 Buccaneer Champions. It was America's game, which ran this weekend on the NFL Network. But if you would have, and I was watching this Saturday night into Sunday morning right there on the couch, as I've shared on kind of the key on my own domain this weekend. I was watching and I saw that we were at 99. They were at the 99 championship game. What was it? Yeah, 99 or 98. But basically, it was the game that the Bucs should have played in, the Super Bowl, where they used the greatest show on turf out there at the Tranquil Stadium to Kurt Warner and all, and the Bergman no catch. And we won't even go there on a Tuesday night. By the way, I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. So I go, oh, wait a minute. And this is honest to goodness truth. Chronologically speaking, I'm thinking in 3 episodes, I won't be awake 3 hours from now, but we should be getting the 2002 Super Bowl 37 Buccaneers versus the Raiders out at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. And it goes 2000, 2001, 2003. In 2001 was Tom Brady's first championship with the New England Patriots. In 2003, of course, would be his next Super Bowl where he played against the Carolina Panthers. And I didn't think about it. I was late. I had a big day at the beach. I did a 4-hour marathon show from Fergus on Saturday. Did not think about it much. I'm still alive, yeah. So I let it go. Got up the next day, the next afternoon, came home from out at the beach for the, what was it? Not only did we see Greg Billings perform, but we also saw the Black Honkies perform out there at Sunset Beach. And that evening, and I posted on Facebook that I saw the programming. It would be the 2020 Super Bowl, and a lot of you reached back to me and said, and we all just so it's on there. You probably DVR'd it, you had it, and they own it. Kevin Patton, I see you, brother. But I just put it out there. It's on, and I set the DVR, and I'm running it back in the alley. You may see a clip every now and then of a Bucs play or something. The lighting here is a little strange this evening. Then this morning, first thing, get up about 3 in the morning, I start doing a little bit of research, and I see that there's not only did the NFL Network not run the 2002 Super Bowl 37 Buccaneers America's game this weekend, but they didn't run the 95 Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl championship either. And the thing about that Super Bowl America's game, Rich Dalrymple, the executive of the Dallas Cowboys, you probably remember his name. That was a solid rock star executive, friend of Jerry Jones, been in the team for many years. He's the guy that used the key scanner to go into the cheerleaders' locker room instead of walking 20 feet further to the men's locker room. And then some cheerleaders said a couple of things. I won't get too much into it, but they saw a cell phone or what have you. $2.4 million made that case go away. But, okay, especially in light of what's currently going on with Deshaun Watson, please, guys, girls, comment. I see people jumping in and out. And if you want to join me, let me do this real quick. Because it's not going to be a long show tonight. I honestly have a couple of friends I invited, and I thought they were going to have the balls to come in here. They might not. And I say balls. I'm not going to say them. I tend to actually agree with the things they're saying. Some of the things they're saying. The question tonight is, the NFL Network, they own the NFL. I'm sorry, the NFL, the Shield owns the NFL Network. Sure, they have the right to do their own programming changes. And we saw it when Tom Brady announced initially that he was actually going to retire, and we saw the entire weekend, 72 hours devoted to Tom Brady and all the great things he did, including winning the Super Bowl in 55 with the Buccaneers. But, so the NFL kind of has the power to control the program, and I think we like it as NFL fans, because we want topical stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get sick of this again this week. I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday night. Easing back into that work week after the 3-day week, and I hope you had a great Independence Day. But So kind of John Gruden's got the litigation going against the NFL right now, and so they're posturing. Don't forget 165,000 emails that they were saying the NFL looked at, 5,000 of them, which is 165,000 and 5,000. We're talking less than what, 8% of the emails. Only 5,000 of those 165,000 emails see the light of day, and it gets John Gruden fired. I'm not going to sit here and defend what that cat did. And I've said this before on Couple Red, I can go back and I can show you my shows. If you laugh at it, you don't say it bothers you, you tend to go along with it, just being an accomplice, and then especially if you engage in activity, sexism, racism, religionism, what have you, I'm not going to make a defense for you. You made your bed. I've worked in government for going on 32 years, okay? Number one is I've never had those kind of feelings, but number two is I understand the way this thing works. You're not going to say something, you don't stand up, you don't tell someone something bothers you, or you engage in that activity, you have no defense. I'm not defending the reason why the NFL Network chooses not to show the 2002 Buccaneers. I'm not defending or saying that the Glaziers and the Buccaneers organization are wrong for taking John Gruden out of the Ring of Honor at Raymond James Stadium when all this went down. Good move. 95 Cowboys, because Rich Dalrymple does a lot of narration in that episode, and you guys have pointed out to, and I appreciate you, that it's available on YouTube, Ben Cornett. Let me copy the clipboard 1 second, and then I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to put it right here because I'd like to know what you all think. Right there, boom. That's the link to the show. Come on in. It says I posted it. Oh, two of us posted it. Or maybe I posted it because I'm on 2 platforms. But Dalrymple does a lot of narration on that, and I pose, and I've kind of been making this argument for the last couple of weeks, and this is where it goes a little deeper for me, is that with the Deshaun Watson case now, with the judge, Sue Henderson, I'm sorry, I apologize for not having a name, I wasn't planning on mentioning this tonight, but that getting ready to drop in the next couple of weeks. And the NFL Players Association said last week, they just put it out there. You notice it didn't run, it wasn't the front page of the New York Times, or it wasn't on the NFL.com site, it sure wasn't on anything else. But the NFLPA says, well, you know, if you guys try to come at Deshaun a little too hard, we're going to point out the fact that Robert Kraft does a strip store, well, it was a strip mall, right? Down in South Florida, but they can't use the video. Whatever happens, you went in there expecting something, you got something. I think everybody there had a happy ending, or maybe just Kraft had it. But there was video that couldn't use it, so that case goes by. Whatever, fine. We settle those things. We all make mistakes, and we deal with the law and how we have to accordingly. Daniel Snyder, 10 years ago, those cheerleaders were sexually harassed on an island doing a photo shoot for the Washington Redskins at the time, football team. And girls are kind of in a precarious situation, and are kind of presented that some of the big boosters for the Washington team would like to have dinner with them. And I'm not saying it was anything else expected. It was just a creation of an environment in which these poor girls, as they brought the case forward and they brought all the evidence to light, were in tears. Your mom, your sister, my mom, my daughters, your aunt, your cousins, put them in that situation. Daniel Snyder still runs this thing. One can only assume the reason why Daniel Snyder still owns the Washington Guardians in Cleveland, is because he knows where all the skeletons are buried. Rich Dalrymple, again, doesn't walk an extra 20 feet to the men's bathroom. He uses his ski barcode to get into the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader locker room, which again, because the same thing when the Deshaun Watson news fell. First thing we heard about it, that there was accusations that he was flying, or there were girls being flied in for massages, and they were being driven to a 4-star hotel or resort from the airport, limo service. And I said right there, if there's any paper trail at all, it's below board, literally. But with Dalrymple, the fact of the matter is, I don't know the exact layout of the locker room, but I've done enough. I don't want to say investigating, but reading on it and researching it to know that the men's locker room was 20 feet further. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders had just gotten done with a big event, a booster of the top, a big photo opportunity and everything. And they had 30 minutes to get dressed into their dress clothes or street clothes and get to a luncheon that was going on. And they had to, you got to get out of your cheerleader outfits, get dressed full, and get to this luncheon. They had 30 minutes, no time more. And at that very moment, while the girls were in various states of distress, Dalrymple walks into the locker room again. Key code, proven, timestamped, but $2.4 million makes that case go away. But that brings me back to, again, the reason why the 95. Again, I've said 2002. Okay, John Gruden, you guys can own the spin. I get it. We're still not over that, or are we? I saw Ray Rice and celebrating with the Ravens and their America's Game Super Bowl show this weekend. And we know how terrible thing was. We see Ray Rice punches his companion in the elevator. And it was kind of, and I don't think anyone had actually seen the video. At least I hope to God no one at the NFL had actually seen that video before they did. And when they did finally see it, they threw him out of the league forever. I think they call him Kaepernick on him. We'll go there another time. I'm not just trying to poop on the NFL. Comments, guys. Jump in here, please. Maybe I'll just vent here. But I got so much feedback, so many DMs, so many messages from you guys out there, guys and girls. Today, after that article read on Bucs Report on the reason why the NFL didn't show the 2002 or the Buccaneers Super Bowl 37 game. And in the piece, again, Joe Bucs fan, shout out to Joe Bucs fan, because they were the first ones that actually made a big deal about it and went back to the question. And then they get with the NFL Network, with Pro Football Talk and Florio. And I'll just say that, every now and then Florio does pull a little bit of diamond on his backside. I hate the fact that guy's been trying to put Tom Brady in Miami for a decade, or at least the last year and a half. Thinking that really makes me feel like a friend of mine who lives out in Vegas that does a live show here on our platform. One of which I thought maybe was going to surprise him and join me in here tonight, but I think what happens is when you get to a position where you realize you really can't make a defense of a situation where the NFL would choose to decide to pull the Dow 95 Dallas Cowboys off and Dalrymple. And it's just, and here's the thing, I'm not going to name names, I kind of what it did. If you guys follow us here, that's okay, we're all cast of characters and friends here. And we're a great social group, you guys included. The NFL has a right to control their own program. But do they have the right to have their control of the programming and it be based upon any situation that they're currently looking at, any type of litigation, any type of what have you? I'm not saying they ran away from the Washington football teams. We saw many shows where they referenced the Redskins the way it should be, weren't always the way they are. They changed the name to the Commanders. I like Washington football team. Ooh, that's got a good spot now. But I start to have a problem, and I kind of mentioned it earlier on Facebook. I said, social media, we don't like bullying of any sort, but social media telling us what we can and can't say. And I think there are people on both the right and left, if we're speaking from a political perspective, that want to see not so much freedom of speech control, but freedom of stupid speech control. Just to say something that is stupid, obviously have no fact whatsoever, to put things out there. It's the reason why Twitter has started having verification, although I haven't seen that thing in it anymore now that Elon Musk owns it. But, I'm going to go ahead. Unless I get a comment here in the next moment to your guys' girls' thoughts. I mean, did you notice, did anybody out there actually, I see a lot of you watching the show. Any of you guys notice that 2002 Buccaneers Super Bowl, it went from 99, 2000, 2001, 2003. Did you know at the time why that would be? Again, it was a long day. I was laying here, and it's kind of, half in the bed. I was laying here relaxing, watching it. And it doesn't come on. And I did not put two and two together. Oh, right. It's John Gruden, who, by the way, currently he's got to have one hell of a case, right? 165,000 emails were looked at. Only 5,000 emails between Bruce Allen and John Gruden and maybe Rich Bisaccia and maybe, I don't know, whomever. Only 5,000 emails see the light of day. But then I did a show on this over a year, 14 months ago. That news comes out that John Gruden and the 5,000 emails comes out literally the week before that oral report after Daniel Snyder hires his own private attorney to investigate the case for a year. Never wrote a thing down. If there's one thing billionaires are really good about, it's not leaving a paper trail. After a full year of investigation, an oral report is delivered of the sexual harassment case against the Washington football team and all those cheerleaders and the terrible things that happened. When I say terrible, I mean it, because it was. Those girls' lives were impacted no less so than those girls that were flew out professionally to do a job. What? Even if it's not, they know it's Deshaun Watson. It's a profession. It's an NFL football player. Guess what? It's a quarterback. And he would like massage therapy. He's got a problem, he's got a sciatica, whatever. I remember in 1985, my mom, loving mom, if you watch, get a chance to watch the show, she was hired to host a Super Bowl party. The Raiders and the Redskins were here in town playing at the old Big Sombrero. Oh God, 1985, what was it, 84, 85? She wasn't told who, where. She had to call, and back then there was no cell phones, so there weren't even pagers. She had to get a call at the house, specific time. She told, and even when she was told what hotel to go to, I wish somebody would jump in here. I mean, serious guys, nobody else does whatsoever. You got no boss, anybody, girls, guys, you got to jump in here and talk to me about this. Come on, we don't got to fight. Agree with me, disagree with me. I want to know your opinions. It's all about what you have to say about the NFL deciding what shows they're going to put on or not. Oh, the Ray Rice thing's gone. He's been out of the league long enough. We'll go ahead and run the Ravens, but you know what? Don't run Dalrymple because of the 2.4 million, and keep Gruden out of there because that case is in the courts. Control the flow, right? And we as NFL fans, again, I've already said we appreciate it, a network that's taking the time and consideration to be. I'm getting all kinds of messages here. Oh, I see. Thank you. Thanks for my boy. I appreciate this guy. I apologize. So, thank you, brother.
Every time my computer does an upgrade, I've already said I agree with the fact that the NFL Network has the opportunity and the right to control their programming. But is it just because they can control the programming because it's what could make them look bad in the current media, the current news cycle? The Dalrymple 2.4 million with the Deshaun Watson case coming right out. The NFLPA threatened a week ago to bring up Dalrymple in a $2.4 million settlement that made that walking into the cheerleader locker room, all the accusations and stuff go away. And by the way, if you guys and girls haven't followed that case with the Washington football or with the Dallas Cowboys, those cheerleaders and their spouses were brought in and given a choice right then and there, immediately on a spot. Take this settlement or take your chances in litigation, and we'll fight it. And of course, they took a settlement, they got it out, and who could blame them by that point? So much had been going on with the investigation, and they didn't know where it was going to go. And it wasn't just about money; it was about the sexual harassment, the situation that was caused, the situation they were put in. But so you can tell me the 2002 Buccaneers don't run because of John Gruden, and right now, again, some friends of mine pointed out litigation that's going on right now in court. I still say he's got a great case. I say it never sees the light of day. The NFL is already trying to push it to, arbitration, which means there's never anything in a court of law. And at this point, we remember, I'm going to go ahead and say this because, again, I said the Glazers were right in taking John Gruden out of the Ring of Honor. I understand with what happened. You don't say something, you don't agree, you play along with something, you sexual or racism or any kind of harassment, and you engage with it in a professional setting. But I'm going to go ahead and put it out there and say that knowing the kind of cat that John Gruden is, and of course, Gruden and Jay Gruden and their father as a running backs coach for the Buccaneers 100 years ago, they grew up in the area. But knowing the kind of cat he is, the competitor he is, and how he's all about being right. And I'm not saying that there's not some set limit of money that the NFL or someone could put out there if there ever is a settlement, because they don't want that to see the 160,000 emails don't see the light of day. 5,000 do. John Gruden loses his job, and it did a great job. It got the news off of that oral investigation that 1 year, hired by Daniel Snyder, that no notes were no notes. Don't put anything on paper. Just do the interviews, interview a couple of girls in this, look at the situation, and then report back to, Mr. Snyder, who is currently circumventing getting subpoenaed to go talk before Congress, which again, on that situation, I don't think he should have to be forced to speak before Congress. I don't think he should be the owner of the Washington Commanders right now, 100%. And in fact, according to Roger Goodell, his actual punishment was he is not running day-to-day operations. Although when Congress invited him to come speak before them 2 weeks ago, his exact excuse was, I have a standing obligation, a team obligation I can't get out of, which, wow, it starts to sound like someone who, I don't know if it's so much that they're running day to day, but they're pretty much involved with still being the owner of the team. So we kind of get that, right? Again, talk about where Daniel Snyder knows where all the skeletons are buried. And you go back into this weekend now with the Deshaun Watson case coming to head this next week or two when we hear what the settlement's going to be. I still say it's 8 games. I don't think he serves any more than half a season. Some people, of course, the NFL says, well, we think that son of a bitch should go 2 seasons. Not, you know what? The NFL, if it'll take the eyes off the prize of Rich Dalrymple and Daniel Snyder and whatever else they got going on, they'd come out and say, we don't think he should ever play again. We think we should call him Kaepernick this cat. We don't think he should ever put on a uniform again, because the NFL is going to spin it the way they have to spin it to protect the shield. That's the way the shield do. That's literally how big business does. The NFL comes back and says, well, we think it should be a year punishment. And the federal judge has to look at all the things. And you realize she did not look at the 70 or the 68 accusations of people that said that they had contact with him on social media. She didn't look at all the cases involved in the 24 cases. She looked at like 5 cases, 5 of the cases. Maybe I think 2 of them that actually ended in some type of behavior, like a real, is it after 10? A real happy ending. She looked at a portion of the cases and the evidence that was put forward, and she has to make a decision as a former federal judge as to what the punishment to Deshaun Watson will be. While the NFL's on this side saying, well, we would punish him an entire year. We'd take him for 2 years. And she realizes if she punishes him for 1 game, then the NFL is going to kick an appeal up to the Roger Goodell. And at the end of the day, Roger Goodell's, and I say that's the way it has to go. I'm not saying 1 game. She's going to lay something down. And that's why I say it's low. The NFL already said it's 1 year. Kicks up to Roger Goodell. He has to make the final decision. Again, remember, if Deshaun Watson is punished for 5 minutes, if he's made to stand in timeout for 5 minutes there at the Cleveland, whatever the name of their facility is, 5-minute timeout. Deshaun, 5 minutes in timeout. That's your punishment. The NFL can then appeal up to Goodell. They can say, we want 2 years. And then Goodell has the right to say the length of time he wants. But don't forget, the National Football League Players Association has already said that if they go too deep, they feel threatened, they're going to point out Rich Dalrymple and a $2.4 million hush-hush, make-it-go-away case of him walking into the Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, in which the 95 Dallas Cowboys America's Game Super Bowl championship season wasn't shown. And again, he had a large part of a narration. If you looked at the Buccaneers, the one behind me right now, from 2000, it's not on anymore. Maybe it went off. You had Devin White, Mike Evans, and Leonard Fournette, 3 players who narrated, which was fantastic, right? The Dallas Cowboys from 95, a large portion of it was Rich Dalrymple. Probably, Jerry's guy, an executive, had an inside with the team. They put him in. It was a showcase. It was probably, from a get-to-know-me standpoint, probably the highlight of his career. I'm not saying that he didn't have, being an executive with the Dallas Cowboys and all of the glitz and glamour and celebration that had going for it, but he got to narrate a large America's Game show about that 95 Dallas Cowboys championship team, which also didn't run this weekend, coincidentally, because I truthfully believe the National Football League Players Association already said that would be one of the 3 things that they would put up there if the punishment on Deshaun Watson was a little bit more severe than they thought. So, this beer's got a centerpiece. Oh, hey, comment. I see the likes. Please, guys, girls, somebody comment. I'm just spitting here. I did this show from St. Pete that night that the oral report came out, and it was a Friday night, and I was down. You guys remember it, guys and girls? I had the homeless guy stopped, and he sat next to me, and I let him. He started, but the thing was, the cat knew the Bucs, so I'm gonna let anyone. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what you got going on. If you know the Bucs, come and we'll talk. And he was talking, and we were talking, and he got off, and he got a little crazy at the end, and I realized he was a little crazy at the end, and then I said, he was holding a gun at me, which, in light of what happened there in Chicago, in light of all the terrible things that are happened, now that I said it right there in retrospect, and I'm not trying to put those, it's not as funny as I thought it would. It was maybe a year and 14 months ago, but that I said it that night when the oral report came out, talking about 160,000 emails that don't see the light of day, but those 5,000 get John Gruden fired, which, why the news was here, everyone looking at that shiny ball. Oh, shiny ball. That oral report was being delivered. I even hate using the word oral report in reference to the report that was delivered by the private attorney or the attorney that was hired by Daniel Snyder and the Washington Football Commanders. to look into the investigation of the sexual harassment toward those Washington cheerleaders. I don't even like using that term oral report, but it was an oral report. It was delivered, and the NFL, and they never even actually had any kind of judgment handed down. But then when Roger Goodell, when he's asked about it, he's like, "Well, we've taken away team day-to-day duties for Daniel Snyder. We've taken away from his day-to-day duties and gave them to his wife. I think her name is Terry. I'm probably wrong here. Somebody comment for me. But he's still running a team. That's okay. But is it though? How many of the NFL teams? 160,000 emails? Let's think about the NFL of the 70s and the 80s and maybe even the 90s. Let's think about how politically correct a lot of things in society were. I think the NFL and the Shield, if you go back and start looking at the emails from 32 NFL teams, and I'll say 32, even if we take into account the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars, or the 76, the inception of the Seahawks and the Bucs. I'm talking going back as long, well, 76, you didn't have emails, but I'm sure there's skeletons in all kinds of closet. And I think that's where the slippery slope starts to develop in all of this, as far as the NFL network controlling their programming on Independence Day weekend to show 745,000 Super Bowls, America's games, but then they leave out the 95 Cowboys and the 2002 Buccaneers. This wouldn't even be on my radar, or if it's on yours, if it's on your radar, it wouldn't be if it wasn't the Buccaneers. And again, when I noticed that the Buccaneers 2002 wasn't running, I didn't think twice about it. Then it hit me today. It hit me early this morning, sitting right there on the couch when I read it, started looking into it online. And it was pointed out by Joe Bucks fan, who raised a big thing about it. And then Pro Football Talk tied it back to the fact that it wasn't just the 2002 Buccaneers, but it was also the 1995 Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I apologize for bothering you guys, but I see y'all. It's kind of a boring subject. So I'm not going to, I've said my piece, but I'll leave you with this thought. The judge is handing down a sentence. There has to be some punishment. We'd like to see this cat fight. First of all, I'd like to see Deshaun Watson never play a game for the Cleveland Browns. I'm disappointed that the Cleveland Browns were the team that gave him the largest contract and then paid him $17 and a pound of famous Jameis crab legs for the first year, so that whatever his suspension is, it hits him as lightly and as softly as possible. Listening to Ian Beckles and Jay Retcher tonight on 95 90 WDAE, locking it down here Monday through Friday from 3 to 6:30 or 3 to 6, and then they have the Rays game tonight. But they were talking about chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I'm never going to question what a football player or a professional athlete of any type, but especially an NFL football player or USFL or XFL at that point, or even college kids now with the name, image, and likeness, I'm never going to question. I hope my audio is better because I'm still rambling. Okay, I think it is because the message just stopped. Wow, there's me live drinking a beer. This went off the rails quick. I'm never going to question the money that these players make, because when you play in this league, when you play at this level, when you play as a professional, not just in light of CTE or the injuries, the knees, the get up, the problems, arthritic problems later on, the sacrifice, commitment, the work ethic it takes to play at this level in this league with these giants, get every damn dime or dollar and penny you can get. Never going to disagree with that. I was disappointed with the fact that any team would sign Deshaun Watson and then be so egregious. And I'm sure it's part of what it took to give up, 73 first round and second round picks to the Houston Texans. Good for them to get rid of that cancer. But it was that Sunday. I got to thank the Houston Texans, but I more got to thank the Cleveland Browns, because Alex Schomburg, you remember, it was that Sunday. I was sitting and I was, as always, monitoring situations, and it was a Sunday. Had no, just like I had no plan to go live tonight. But all of a sudden, I get a news break. Looks like the Saints, the Panthers, and what? Remember now, Tom Brady's retired, and the Bucs are maybe in. And this is with Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask. Give me Ryan Griffith. Give me anybody but Deshaun Watson to Tampa Bay. I don't think it was ever even anything. I don't think Jason Light would do something like that to this team. I know it's about winning, and I think that guy's got talent, but I don't think Jason Light. even with Tom Brady having, if he'd have stayed retired, would do anything like that to even possibly damage not just the respect in his locker room, but the chemistry and the magic that he's had built. Because let's not forget when Tom Brady signs here in 2020, and then Gronk comes and Fournette and Antonio comes and has his thing. This team was already being put together solid, right? You already had Mike Evans, Vita Vea, Jameis Winston, but you already had all these pieces, Chris Godwin coming together. And I felt so emotional about that. I was like, I'm gonna go live. So I'm on the horn. I'm looking this. I'm asking some other people. I'm like, do you guys hear this at the Buccaneers? They're like, yeah, we're hearing it from different sources, different channels. The Buccaneers might be that third team, maybe even that fourth team, but they're definitely in the talk right now with Deshaun at the 11th hour before Cleveland comes and wins the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Did they win though? That was stupid. So I'm like, I'm gonna go live. I gotta go live because I want to see how people feel about this. This is what we do. This is what we're doing. Look at all these comments we got. Two of them, I shared the goddamn link to this show, and ain't nobody jumping in here. I swear I'll be nice to you. So I go live. And that's why I say thank the Cleveland Browns because Alex Schoenberg and I were live. Literally, we went for an hour and a half, had some great conversation. The show's still available on bucksreport.com, on our web portal, on our videos, on our Facebook page. And had a great time, and you guys and girls have seen it by now. I hope it literally should be probably the most viral moment I'll ever have, other than like when Jameis's camp agrees in principle with the Saints, and I did 7,000 views or 10,000 views when Brady announces he's coming back. But that was the day I was live with Alec. When I said to Alec, my exact words to him were, well, I'm going to go ahead and let you get out of here, my friend. I appreciate you being in here because I appreciate everybody that comes in, like the plethora of people we've had tonight. Leo word, not one of y'all sissy bastards. I'll wait one more minute. But Alec and I were live and we're getting ready to cut it out. And I said, I'm going to let you go. I don't think there's going to be any more news. Didn't see any news on the horizon. And then right then and there, Alec gets to pop. And I'm like, I look at him. I'm looking at him in my computer and I go, what are you hearing? And he goes, oh my God. And it was the Instagram, the very first. We were the only, not only were we the only outlet or Bucks outlet or anybody at all in sports. I remember that the PGA golf event that was on, they had a little blurb about it, but we were literally live the moment it popped, and we didn't wait to come back for commercial or for someone who's now in the LIV or whatever golf league to make their shot or to come back from the 18 where someone was trying to hit a putt. We brought it live that moment. Alec, forever living in it's 10 o'clock. Yeah, y'all are sissy bastards for not coming in here and talking with me about it. And I'm sorry I didn't want to bother you on a Tuesday night, but you guys can't come in here and defend the NFL network for purposely editing. I'm gonna say fuck the NFL network for purposely keeping those 95 Dallas Cowboys out of there. Because yeah, I can understand the Gruden thing because the litigation's current, but to take the Dalrymple away because of the $2.4 million, because you got to protect the shield, because at the end of the day, Roger Goodell works for 32 fucking billionaires, actually more because some teams have minority owners. But to tell me that you're going to control what I see because it's going to have some kind of an outcome on your news cycle, it's going to have some kind of an outcome on the way you get your swerve on. But at the end of the day, we're the ones, if it wasn't for us NFL fans, you wouldn't have shit. You wouldn't have legalized gambling. You wouldn't have Caesars, MGM. You wouldn't have FanDuel. You wouldn't have CBS, NBC, Amazon, ESPN, Fox. Who else the fuck is out there paying $1 billion now for the NFL package? If it wasn't for us going to the games and paying $270 a seat, $2,700 a year to sit in the extended, and I still think it's going to be great. The cruise nest right there in the south end zone, but the extension there. I like the pirate ship in the north end zone. I love it. Of course, you guys know that 14 rows up center of the end zone, north end zone was where we sat. My family had 18 seats at one time, had 26 in the stadium. Mine ended up moving to the west side. I was there when Vernon Turner returned the first punt return in Buccaneers history. I was right there with me and my mullet drinking a beer coming back from the bathroom as I swear I could feel him. As he ran by the sideline, I could feel the breeze. If it wasn't for us paying to go to the games, watching them on TV so you can sell your advertising, you wouldn't be shit. But yeah, you're going to keep the 95 Cowboys off because Dalrymple and the NFLPA threatens to bring that up as a total, put it under the carpet, lift it and sweep it under if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for too long. Now, I'm going to say this right now. You tell me the legalized game. You tell me Caesars, MGM, FanDuel. Am I even still alive? Good, no one's cut me off. You're going to tell me Caesars, FanDuel, MDM, MGM, whatever, online bet anything. You don't think they're salivating for that first game that Deshaun Watson, if he doesn't get suspended for the regular season, whatever preseason game he plays in, if Stefanski announces that Deshaun Watson's playing for more than a quarter, the Vegas lines will be fucking crazy. He'll have 30 yards rushing. He'll throw 2 touchdowns. He'll throw 7 receptions. He won't be sacked. He's going to be phenomenal. He's going to have an attitude. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. At the end of the day, all that works back to making that big engine run, to making that shield stand tall and strong. But yet, again, we're the ones, if we're gambling or watching, or hopefully it's not the players or the officials that are gambling. Lord knows if it's the owners that are gambling. Probably not, because they're too busy making money selling the analytics and the numbers and putting sports books in the stadiums. But yet, at the end of the day, the National Football League, they can take the Dallas Cowboys 95 off because of the way it would look with Dalrymple. And and a friend of mine was right tonight. He said, the NFL probably figures, they think about this stuff, they think it out real well. And they probably figure, you know what? Worst case scenario, some idiot with one eyebrow is sitting in his house in Seminole, Florida, with one person watching. No, I'm kidding. There's a few of you. I see you across the 3 platforms. Thank you all for coming in. Even though, I do have a comment. Johnny Dean says, I've been sharing my ass off. And Johnny, I hope you won't mind me saying, I think you're right. I mean, it's news. I don't have a problem with the NFL controlling the narrative. I just have a problem when I get an oral report with no written part and Daniel Snyder's made to not run a team, but we know he's running a team. I have a problem when the control of the cycle is held so tightly because it's to keep the skeletons hidden in the closet. I don't want the NFL to burn. I want the NFL to build. I want the USFL, the XFL, the NFL. I want year-round football. I hate to see the college football players with name, image, and likeness the way it's gone crazy. I hate to see the Big Ten becoming the Big Four with the Big 12 and the growing SEC. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, talking about the college, and I'll end with this since I already dropped like 6 F-bombs, and I shouldn't have. I'm probably going to regret that for a long time. So you see what happens with Nick Saban and the complaints he's having. He calls out a Jimbo Fisher. Some reason they call out a Deion Sanders. I'm going to go ahead since the show's almost over. I'm going to finish this. So excuse me for 1 second. Again, tonight's show is brought to you by, I'm going to say it again, Wicked Weed Dank, Dr. Dank. It's an Indian Pale Ale. What's funny is I can say Indian Pale Ale. It's still Indian Pale Ale, and it's not politically incorrect. And does anyone know why it's called an Indian Pale Ale? I'll give you guys a second because I'll share this. Oh, it's so good. So what happened was the British, of course, the colony over in India, they would build the beer or make the beer, but they would put them in the hulls of the ship, in the casks or the large, help me out here, guys, somebody. And the ships would sail across the 7 seas. No, they would sail all the way from England to India out to where they had the English, people living there in the colony. And something weird happened in the 2 weeks that it would take for the ships to sail across the ocean. Something weird happened is that the ships would actually rock with the sea. So you're getting if you tuned in late here, you're getting a little bit of knowledge here on Tuesday night. Johnny Dean. What happened to the goldfish that came with that glass ray? I love it. Thank you for joining me in my champagne. So something would happen with the ships as they crossed the seas. The ships would sway and rock and sway and rock, and the water was cold, and it would be above and cold, and then the sun from above. So this beer would ferment, especially different from just normal beer that was made and it was set in the casks. Pat Donovan, I hope you're watching or you get a chance to watch this. I'm going to share this with you because that's a guy who knows his beer. Goon Squad IPA. Loving locking it down. Saw the posts over the weekend with the steak. Oh, that hit me hard because I'm like, I'm drinking beer. I'm on the beach. I can do a hamburger. And then I see you're cooking those steaks, locking it down. Sorry you had a problem with the grill, but you still hit it off in the iron or hitting off had a hot iron. So the beer would ferment a little bit differently. And by the time I got to India, they would actually unload it. It was like, wow, it had great taste. It was different. And so that is the origin story, if you will, of Indian Pale Ale. Let me see if I got any other comments. Johnny Dean says, LOL. Johnny Dean, yes, sir. So I got it off my chest. It's only a 40-minute show. That's okay. Hey, you like the Bulls basketball? Sure. Got this one. I'll get to go over and watch. Saw Beckles and Retro again. Locking it down. Aaron Jacobson and Pat Donovan. But Retro, they're locking it down from 12 to 3 weekdays on WDAE. And Beckles and Retro got a chance to meet them both, or get to see Beckles. I hadn't seen Beckles or Ian Beckless. I hadn't seen him since back in the day when we were doing the Lightning games. And Ian, can I call you out on this? Help me out here, brother. You got the big mic from 3 hours a day, locking it down, opening the show with Shadcore and Vox with that beautiful opening song for yours and Retro Show. You guys remember when Ian Beckles, you remember when you and Tony Mayberry used to come over to the Thunderdome for those Lightning games? That's when I used to run into you cats all the time coming over for those Lightning games. And you remember the big crowds when we were constantly setting NHL attendance records, like, on the weekly, but especially in those playoffs when we're playing against Hextall and those Philadelphia Flyers. Ian Beckles, you remember that. I know you do. Try to let the people of Tampa remember that they used to come across from Tampa, come across the bridge, just like all of us Pinellas County citizens have all been made to come across the bridge back when Howard Frankenstein was a 2-lane bridge. And I go back even before your time, Ian, yours and Tony's time. You used to have to sit in traffic. You didn't get to the hump, and it was an hour and a half to get off at Dale Mabry to get to the stadium. And that was at 10 a.m., 9:30 in the morning for a 1 o'clock game, which, by the way, guys and girls, the Buccaneers played most of their games at 1 o'clock. Oh, I got some more comments. Johnny, thank you so much, brother. Tampa Bay Sports Report with Ray Kennedy. I appreciate you, brother. Profile. It's probably a picture of me naked. Remind people, Ian, because like I said, you got the big mic. You're in the chair there, you and Rich, 5 days a week there on WDAE in the afternoons. Appreciate you guys so much. Remind the people that they used to come across. I know, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to come across that bridge to come over to a 7 o'clock game. But I'm telling you how romantic, if you got a weekend game or you got a weekday game, it's a Thursday night game, you're hosting the Boston Red Sox over here in St. Petersburg. If it's 7 o'clock game, you take a half a day, you bring the kids over, you go see the $90 million pier, you go to the Dolly Museum, you go to Bella Brava, you go to Park Shore Grill, you go to Ferg's, the world famous Ferg's Sports Bar and Grill out there on Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the Edge district of St. Petersburg. You come out to the beach, you put your feet in the sand, you go to Krabby's on the Pass and grab some of that delicious seafood. You make a day of it. I get that. I know it's hard to be, let's be honest, guys and girls, it's hard to be a season ticket holder for MLB anytime. I don't care if you live across the street from the stadium. I worked for the Rays for 3 years. I was at every home game. It's hard. And I was getting paid to be there and having a great time doing it and getting to watch the Rays for free after I worked every night. I say work for the Rays. I worked in fan photography. We were a subdivision of the Rays, but I loved it. Used to go out in the field there when Andrew Friedman and his kids would run the bases on Sundays after the game. And I was the home plate photographer who got to coming around. And here's Friedman, the general manager of the team, and all their crew coming around with their kids, because Sunday was run the bases. It still is. You run the bases after the baseball game. And I got pictures of his beautiful kids, beautiful son. And actually, it was great. It was a good sales day for me because I got a percentage of the sales that I sold. Very small percentage, but that's how the Rays operate. But Beck, remind the people that they used to come over, like you and Tony Mayberry used to come over for all those Lightning games and for the Storm games. Because let me tell you right now, there's 86 acres of development there at the old gas plant, and there's still a Midtown going on. And Mayor Ken Welch, I'm currently in negotiations. I say negotiations. I've been reaching out to his people, going to get him on for an interview here soon. I'm calling you out, Mayor. I love you, brother. I want to talk about the importance of the development. Of course, I just dropped 5 F-bombs on this show, so there goes a chance of having that interview. That's okay. We live on. Reminded people that coming over to St. Pete wasn't the worst thing. Mayor Al Lang in 1918 proposed that the St. Petersburg would be perfect for preseason for spring training baseball every year. We had DiMaggio and Babe Ruth. We had DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe sitting just a couple of miles behind me out there on Gulf Beaches at the Bath Club. All the history, got the stadium. Stu Sternberg gets half of the development for that 86 acres, which is going to be huge because they're already it's at 16th Street. It's below 16th Street. In the Edge district, they're already developing up to 34th Street. There's a way that the stadium gets made here. And I love the fact that Mayor Welch pushed to requests for proposals. The two that were on the table when Mayor Friedman left, and Mayor Welch said, no, off the table. COVID, changing costs, the economy. We want fresh proposals, and it gives us a little more time. And I think that gives the Sternberg and the Rays a little more chance to get to the table and get on board with the chance of making a stadium happen here in St. Petersburg. And everybody says we're still going to build it over there in the cow pastures of Pasco County. I don't know. Build in Orlando. It's the center of the damn state. You could draw Jacksonville, Cocoa Beach, yeah, whatever. If it's all about the location of the stadium and not being able to support one of the best teams in baseball, then okay, fine. Build it where you have to. But you got the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, all coming straight up 275 from Sarasota. You got 3 bridges in the Courtney Campbell, the Howard Franklin, and the Gandy Bridge coming over from Tampa. You got all of North Pinellas and Pasco and Newport Richey coming down here. And you've got a pretty burgeoning large area in Metropolis in the Pinellas County area. And you have the Sunrunner transportation now going in, which is going to be taking you from Tradewinds. Am I still live? Wow, no one's cut me off. No one's watching. The Sunrunner is going to take you all the way from Tradewinds around the beaches, down First Avenue South to the Bay, and then First Avenue North from the Bay back to the beaches. And they say you're going to be able to get there in 17 minutes. So imagine you're coming down here for a baseball game. Imagine you're here as a race fan. Imagine you're one of those poor people in Hillsborough County that don't want to drive across. Fuck Pinellas County. We got to drive that Howard Franklin every Sunday to go to a Bucs game, which I do. I would have no problem. I have no problem doing that. Poor Hillsborough County residents got to drive across to Howard Franklin to come over to Pinellas County to go to a baseball game. Oh, it's not in Ybor. It's not down in the waterfront. It's not down in Channelside. Jeffrey Vinnick doesn't own a team. No. St. Pete fought for, built, and got that team. Went through many heartbreaks, hardships, built a stadium in 1986 when no one else would take the chance. The word is that baseball said if you have a stadium, there's a chance. And Rick Dodge in the city of St. Petersburg, Pinellas County, we got on board. We built a stadium, and I get it. Nobody wants to. You guys are kidding me. Really? I'm calling you out, Tampa. I'm calling you out, Hillsborough County, because fuck, y'all ain't watching my show anyway on a Tuesday night. You ain't coming over here 2 years in a row. Okay, it was COVID. I get it. 2020 was a little weird, but 2021, we still want. I was at that game where we clinched the American League East against the Florida Marlins with my 3 kids, and we had the best time celebrating the fact that the Rays clinched the American League East again. I think it was around Marlins. It was last year. You guys are. I worked there for 3 years. I saw the attendance and the support. And I get that it's hard during a week. We all got to take turns. And businesses, you have to support this team. You want to keep this team. This team could just as easily be gone. If Oakland Athletics figure out a way, if Oakland figures out a way to keep the Athletics, then it puts the Rays in the hot spot to go to Vegas. Vegas got hockey. Vegas Knights are great. Ben, that's for you because I called you out a little earlier. Vegas got the Raiders, and that's fine for them. They got that monolith of a stadium. Looks like a Roomba. You want to keep the team here? You got to support it. And here's the thing. I remember back when I was a kid growing up, it was always Pinellas County versus Hillsborough County. Big brother versus little brother, or big sister versus little sister, so as to not create any type of a sexism type of a situation here. But Hillsborough County got they had the international, they had TIA, first of all, right? We have St. Pete Clearwater, which I'll be flying out of in 2 weeks. They had TIA, they had Tampa Stadium, they had the Rowdies. But you know what? The Lightning started and they were playing out at the fairgrounds, which was fantastic because Phil Esposito helped us get a National Hockey League team. And I love the fact that Phil Esposito, I'm really hunched. I love the fact that Phil Esposito is still calling the games. I loved all this entire last postseason and even before the postseason, but I love that I'm working at UPS at night. And some of the guys, especially in the postseason and the Stanley Cups, they're actually streaming it. They've got the NHL app or the NBC app. And I'm listening to 970 WDAE, a subsidiary, if you will, of W95.3, again with Aaron Jacobson, Pat Donovan, Ian Beckles, Jay Retcher, Tom Krasnicki, and Night Train Lane. Although, Tom, you still ain't never messaged me back on one of them. I'm always hitting Tom Krasnicki up. Tom's just too busy, and he's a little conceited. But we like Tom. 970, listening to yes. Oh God, listening to Phil Esposito and his take. I love Phil, and I know Phil. I remember Phil when I used to hang out with Alexander Selvanov. He was a player on the team, and I won't go into too much personal details, but got a chance to meet and to spend quite a time with Phil Esposito. One of the most fantastic cats you'll ever know. Tony Esposito's brother. I mean, not only Hall of Fame NHL players buried a lead, but very much responsible Phil Esposito was for us getting the Lightning here in Tampa Bay. But they played at the fairgrounds, and then the fairgrounds wasn't good. They wanted to go somewhere, and until the Amalie Arena, which was originally the Forum. The Forum. But they came over here to Tropicana Field, and we were consistently setting NHL records because there wasn't that problem. Hillsborough County was coming across the bridge. They were excited to come to games. They realized and this was before the interstate even went into Tropicana. Now we have the interstate going in and everything. It's been proved. The Howard Franklin's going to be what 73 lanes starting in a couple of years. The Gandy now with the Crosstown and the Selman, and then if you want to just take the romantic view, you take the Courtney Campbell because you want to see a sunset and you're coming to a 7 o'clock game, and then you just brush down Fourth Avenue or you jump on all that new. We have that new. Have you guys even seen this, Hillsborough County residents? You're probably not listening to me anymore because you're pissed off that I called you guys out. But we have this whole new setup where you can actually get from North County, Palm Harbor, and by the time you get to the airport, you can jump on an interstate, a devoted bridge doing nothing but getting you back to 75 to go down south to the St. Petersburg area for the Rays if they get that stadium built, or more importantly, straight across the bridge to go back home because Lord knows you don't want to spend too much time over here in paradise. And to be honest with you, I love you guys. I love that you open your welcome mats to invite us to come over to see the Bucs play and come over to see the Lightning play, come over and enjoy the Florida State Fair every year. But if you don't want to hang on the beaches, take your beaches home. Take your beaches home, you guys. But the thing about it is no, you got to look at it. You got to look at it as it's a daily adventure to come to a game. You're coming over to enjoy the beach. You're coming over to enjoy the downtown area. It's not just I refuse to cross that bridge to go see the Rays play. And I know that's exactly what you guys and girls are doing because the Rays won the American League East against the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and then the Orioles 2 years in a row. Second lowest and 1 year the lowest payroll in all of baseball. And y'all show up when it's a playoff game. Y'all show up when it's the series. I get it. But during the season, it's on TV. It's too easy. That's why when I've made my proposals, and I've made proposals for a stadium, God, this is nowhere near Buck related. I've said build a 15,000 seat stadium. Oh, Major League Baseball? They're not going to let us have the All-Star game. I don't care if we have the All-Star game. I never want to go to a Pro Bowl game, an All-Star game. Now, the NHL All-Star game where they put the plates in the different corners and they have the slap shots to see if we can get the skills. And I'm kidding. I like All-Stars and Pro Bowls and stuff like that. But if that's the thing, if St. Petersburg, with their request for proposal, can take care of the residents that were once in a gas plant district or in their midtown that were promised in 1985, how much better it was going to be. And they're seeing it now because it's emanating from the water up to 34th Street. But sorry, I'm just rambling, but hold on. Can't go more off the rails than that. To get promised to redevelopment, to have the economics, and to have the buildup. And so here's what's going to happen: Midtown's going to get developed, whether there's a baseball team there or not. In Tampa, I'm sorry, the Hillsborough County, they were kind of stepping up, like, hey, there's Ybor. Oh wait, it'd be too tall. It would disrupt the historic district. It's already here. Mayor Welch put it back out. He's going back out for requests for proposals. We'll see what happens. Bring the Rays back to the table. But in the future, let's all, I just went off the rails. I was just trying to get to an hour. Hey, y'all, I got some comments. Oh, God, I got some good comments. Let me see here. Dan, I hope you're agreeing with me. Fuck, damn. I thought this was going to be, oh, God. I'm going to read these because it's good, especially having just guzzled that beer. E pluribus constipational vegetable telephone. And you're on YouTube, brother. I love it. Good to see you, Dan. I appreciate you stopping in here. I really do. Squash hockey running ear Van Jack Russell. Radio 100 grand spades pimp. See, now you're talking about me. And I love that, Dan. Thanks, brother. Dan also says, fade bicycle bridge kilometer. And this one's great. I love it. Shoulder Joey Joey Strangler. God, I hope that if you put all those together, I hope that those acronyms don't spell something like I love Donald Trump. I would be so heartbroken, Dan, because you seem like a really cool dude. The thing is, Dan, how did you? So we're on the Bucs Report YouTube, if it even stays with all the, and it's. I was trying so hard. I ran 8 hours of shows last weekend with my showrunner, trying to test. I'm trying to test the what's what I'm looking for, the copyright issues that we have with Facebook, and the only thing I can think of. Oh, this is the one. The only thing I think of that's causing a problem is this. grade bicycle bridge kilometer. E pluribus constipational vegetable telephone. Dan, sounds like you may have some constipational issues, but I appreciate you coming in here. Hey, everybody, have a great evening. Thanks for joining me here from my weekly enema. See you soon.